April 28th, 2025. This is our daily Recoup check-in. I'm Sweets, this is Sid, and we're going to be talking about what we've been thinking about over the weekend, because today's Monday, and what we're going to be building out today. On my side, I spent Friday before leaving Santiago updating all of our docs to the new version of the API I'm thinking about leaning us towards to resolve the errors that we're getting from internal Recoup tools and also speed up the usage of those Recoup tools. I would love to cover those changes in this call if we have time. My next steps for this week are going to be to implement those tools, we'll build the endpoints, add those endpoints as tools. And then once we've verified the transition is good, I will then fully deprecate the endpoints that we were using and remove them just so that we don't have extra code laying around. My overall weekly goals: image generation on the new OpenAI API for image generation. Connect that with the Wallet API v2 from Coinbase. I just did a whole masterclass on that today. So if you have any questions, you can check out the YouTube channel. We've got the full masterclass. Can add in Minikit from Base, so that way we can distribute and get more people using the Recoup app inside of the Farcaster feed. And other than that, decreasing errors in the chat. Over the weekend, I only saw one error, and it was from Secondhand Talent today, and they used the Get Artist Fans tool, and that's the only point that they had an error, was using one of the tools that I plan on deprecating and moving into our new tool stack. So on my side, I'm feeling 80% confident that these changes I'm working on this week are going to be the root cause, which is our tools were too far away from our app. Our tools were returning too much data for Anthropic to be able to handle. And so the changes I'm making are going to be addressing that. Sid, what have you been working on? What are you working on this week?
So on Friday, I shipped the sharing URLs auto selects artist. The PR got pretty heavy, so you told me to tone it back. So I spent the rest of that night cutting down the code base in half, or the script in half. So it went from 600 to 300 lines of code, and got rid of, or just basically put everything into libs instead of having that one master file. So it's simpler, and it gets the same job done. So that's ready to do a PR review whenever you're ready to do that. And then just spent the rest of the weekend kind of thinking through what's going to get me to the goal of getting our trial users more active. You know, there's a lot of things that I keep adding to the plate of, like adding deep research on when people automatically join, and 1,000 other things. But if we're going back to how do I get the people that we currently have active using it more often, I keep going back to two things. One is weekly email insights with a call to action to open a chat that then gets stored in their database, and they can continue the conversation. That seems like the most obvious one. And that, because it's also very trackable to see click-throughs, and are people opening it? Is it actually increasing chats? And then the second thing that I'm finding is just like more like smarter auto prompting. I don't know what the word auto prompting means right now, whether it's suggested or it's in system prompts, but something that I've realized is going into people's chats. I'm always reading them and being like, man, I wish they would have followed up with this. Like Secondhand Talent is a good example. They sent me another email actually this weekend saying this tool is awesome, and then just keep sending me like their entire threads. So they basically asked it to do an analysis of their current landscape, and then help draft an email to a potential sponsor. And the email was okay, and they were wowed by it. But I read it and was like, okay, here are 3 prompts that I would have continued the conversation with. I would have said, make this email quicker to read and easier to understand, always. Then I would have said, reread this email and analyze exactly what it would take for the reader to feel more emotionally connected and understand like the value that we're bringing, and arrange it and format it so that we keep their attention the whole time. So just like little things like that, like how we can improve responses. And then the third one was like, write this email from one C-suite executive to another, and so like those 3 kinds of prompts are ways that like I would have done that they didn't think to, like, so they got a great output, but like to even better their output, like I would have added those prompts. So just thinking through like what that implementation means. Currently, it's me like emailing them and saying, hey guys, I saw your chat. I'm glad you got a great response. Try these 3 prompts to get even better response. So I'm thinking through how that could work, but maybe it's tied into the weekly email insights and prompt suggestions or something. So those are my main focuses this week is those weekly email insights and auto prompts, and then just touching base with all customers.
Are you okay to review the architecture changes I'm thinking of making to our API, or do you think there's a better way we could spend the remaining 4 minutes?
Let's do it.
Have you already seen all the changes that I've suggested, or have you just been seeing all the pings, but you haven't gotten into the details?
I dove into it on Friday, but like, let's just dive into it quickly and refresh.
So these deprecated ones are what we currently have. We've got artist profile. You pass in an account artist ID and you get back all the socials connected. Comments, you pass in an account artist ID and then you get back all the comments that are associated with an artist. Fans, artist account ID, get back every single fan across all segments. Posts, pass in artist account ID and get back every single post. And so my initial goal was one single param. You always use this. It's easy to find. You just go to chat.recoupable.com. You select your artist. You open up that little box, and then you get the artist account ID, and you can use that in any API endpoint very simply. You just get this ID. You plug it into any of the endpoints, and you always get back data. Downside is this made a whole bunch of follow-up queries in order to get the data that it needed, and so that slowed it down. And because we were returning all the data, it also weighed down pretty heavy on the tools. Where I've moved us to is we now have artist APIs. You call those first. Then you can call social APIs, segment APIs, and post APIs based off of that data. Artist APIs take in an artist account ID, so artist socials and artist segments. Query artist socials to get back the array of socials that are connected with an artist. In my example, I've got a Spotify, a TikTok, an Instagram, and an X. Artist segments, all of our segments are associated with an artist. And so you query artist segments with an account ID, and then you get back just the array of segments. Once you have the segments, you can then get segment fans. So you'll have an array of segments. To use segment fans, you take one of those and say, give me the fans in this segment, and it returns back the segments. And so before, you just passed in an artist ID. We made that query to get all the segments for an artist, and then we iterated in a loop over all those segments and got all the fans for each of those segments and sent all that data back. We've now broke it up into 2 parts. First, you get your segments, pick the segment that you want out of that list, and then get the fans out of that specific segment. And so it's made it more modular. And so now the AI can iterate over those tools to make the calls that it needs to get however many or however few fans that it needs out of, or if it just needs segments and it doesn't necessarily know which one, we've broken it down to make it more modular. Then on the posts and comments side, in order to get your posts, you pass in a social, because a post is related with one single platform, so one single social. And so you first get the socials for an artist, then you get the posts for one of those socials from an artist, and then you can get the comments from one of those posts from one of those artists, and then the AI can chain those together however it wants to either get a bunch of posts or to get one single post and then get all the comments. We're pushing that creativity onto the hands of the AI rather than us just saying, give us one single variable and then we'll give you all that data. It's going to be slow, but you're going to get every single thing. We're now making it incredibly short and fast to get specific data, and then pushing the creativity to the edges and allowing the AI to mix and match whatever APIs it needs to call in order to get that data. This is
I
the
love it.
architecture. Questions or thoughts on this architecture before we go into implementation? I know we don't have much time.
I like it. I really like it. I like the idea of modularity because it's going to be really interesting to see how it calls things. Like, give it more agentic opportunities, right?
And
Very
so how
cool.
I'm going to roll this out is everything's going to continue to work. All the previous API endpoints will work until I delete them, and I'm not going to delete them until Sid is happy with our migration onto the new endpoints. So people, if you're already using these APIs, you can continue to use them, but just know we will be deprecating in the next week or two. And so I'll start building out these new ones. We'll make sure that the tools work for the new ones. And this gives us the ability at any time, if Sid says, I don't like this direction, great. I haven't deleted anything. We can go back to the old system. And that's going to allow us to just have more confidence in the direction we're taking and giving us an instant reset switch. If at any point we don't like it, I haven't deleted it until we fully accept it. I'll stop there. Anything else you want to talk about on this side, or anything else we haven't talked about you want to talk about before we wrap up?
Yeah, I have one request for you going into this, if possible, and let me know if you need my help on this or if it's something that you can handle on your own. Can we come up with 10 eval questions so that we can compare the depreciated to the new to ChatGPT with search on, and really see, is this new giving us better results?
So that way we can compare it, 1, to how it was before, 2, how it is on the new system, and 3, how it is on OpenAI ChatGPT.
Yeah.
Copy. I'll get you that list before I start any of the tool changes, so that way you can run the benchmarks and how it currently works. And then we can do another test on Friday after I've done all the migrations for you to test the difference of how it is after the migrations. Sound okay?
Yeah, perfect. Perfect.
On your side, anything else you wanted to chat about before we wrap up? Oh, we got someone in the chat. Shine.
What
Just
up,
saying,
Shine?
big thing. What's up, Shine? Thank you, guys.
No, I think we're good, man. I'm feeling really good about this week. Very focused and a lot of clarity on what needs to get done to hit our benchmark. So I'm excited.
Thank you, Shine, for leaving us a comment. Anyone else, if you haven't already, leave us a like, give us a follow. That way more people can see how we're building this company in public. Other than that, I will be back tomorrow for another live stream. Thank you, everyone.